Hello, everyone. It's Adrienne Rivera here. Welcome back to the Breath of Gold business journey. I am here today with Anna Kowalska, who is a purpose and prosperity coach. Welcome.
Hey, Adrienne, I'm so excited to be here. I always love you and I talking, whether it's my summit, your summit, like there is always a great energy and flow. So I'm really excited for today.
Yes, I know. I was just on your summit and the conversation was amazing. And
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to seeing what's going to come through today.
Yeah.
So, for the people that are listening that are just meeting you for the first time, I'd love for you to just introduce yourself further, share a little bit about your story and how you got into the work that you're doing.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Anna Kowalska, and I'm a purpose and prosperity coach, mentor. And how did I get into it? I mean, it's been a journey. I'm sure, like many of the viewers, it's been a journey of experiencing something for yourself, something being missing, and realizing that there is a solution, and solution could work for many other people. So then you make a business out of it, right? So that's what happened for me. I created success in a very pragmatic, practical world. And then there was something missing. And the thing that was missing that I couldn't figure out three times where I created success and pushed it away. And what I couldn't connect to at the time is that my soul was missing. My purpose was missing. So then I ventured out on a journey of figuring out what is purpose even about, why is it so important, and why does it matter, and how does one align what they do in the world. Because again, like I created all this success tangibly, but it didn't mean anything. It still didn't fill my hole. So that hole inside. And I said, wow, how do people live like that? How do people go on making a living, right, and never ask themselves how to make it count for them too, outside of having all the luxuries and things of life, which I think is great to have. But in the end of the day, am I also fulfilled by what I do? So I ventured out on trying to figure out what it is for me and discovering what it was for me. And once I found it, I'm like, nobody should ever work without being in alignment with their purpose. Why would you ever? I mean, that old idea of you work to get a house, you have a job to get a pension, to retire, and someday something will happen. That is so in the past. Although some people still live with that paradigm, they don't even realize. And a lot of people bring that paradigm into business. So I realized that's not the way I'm going to go. And that's not the way that I want people around me to go. I want them to know there is something else creating a new business in a new way. And then New Earth came about, right? Like the whole evolution we are in right now, and the rise of the healer, and the rise of the light worker, and the rise of those of us who have beautiful soul gifts that get to be brought out in a whole new way. We can no longer sell it like a package that you can see in a store on a shelf and pay for what you're getting. So all of that led me to this beautiful journey that I've been on and bringing my clients on.
I
There you
love
go.
I love this so much. Yes. And I love your story because I feel like so many people can relate. We've had these moments of success, external success, and it's outside of us. And we think it's going to feel a certain way.
Mhm.
But the
Yeah.
more we reach outside of ourselves, the bigger the hole gets, like you were saying, this hole inside of us or this void. And I remember I felt that one time so deeply. I was on a trip in Bali with my sister, and we were in this perfect hotel. It was beautiful. And I was just sitting there crying because I felt so empty and it didn't feel
Mm.
like I was connected. I'm like, wait, this isn't actually what I want. This is not what I want. And so I spent, a couple years after that moment redefining success, redefining my core values, and really coming back to love. And I believe that all of our purpose is to be love. It's simply to be
Yeah.
loved. We are showing up in love. We are fulfilling our purpose. So I'm
Yeah.
curious for you to speak into what is the void? Why is there sometimes a hole? Why does that exist for those that are listening that have
Yeah.
felt?
Yeah. That's I mean, it could turn into a philosophical conversation about why it's even there for humanity. I think that it's always been there. It's just that humans have lived in a certain way where survival was more important than anything else. And those who maybe were thinkers, creators, I'm thinking like Da Vinci, they discovered something that within them that they knew that nothing outside could fulfill, and then they just journeyed on diving and connecting deeper within. most humanity, survival was more important. Making the buck, feeding yourself and your family, creating something. I mean, and I'm talking about centuries, right? So that whole, I think, has always been there for most of us. I mean, generations. We just never paid attention to it. Some could say, and I could see that for sure, that it's connection to the soul, it's connection to our divinity, it's our sense of separation from the creator, whatever you'd like to call it. It's the sense that there is something, and then there is me, and I have no choice but to just live out this human life, and I am not connecting to the power of the force flowing through me, and that creates the sense of the whole, of the emptiness. Like, we're not connecting. This is so fun. I'm actually having like a visceral experience of this right now. We're not connecting to something that's already filling the hole, so we feel like it's a void. It's not actually a void. We're just not connecting to it, right?
Mm,
Yeah.
yes, I love that. I love that that was coming through for you and your body. And thank you for sharing your perspective
Yeah.
on that. That's really insightful. So I'd love to hear your perspective on what things were in the coaching and healing space and what things are going to be. What did you do several years ago in your business? What worked then? And what are you pivoting into for 2024?
Yeah. And I'll share even deeper than that. I'll share with you what I saw work that I knew I didn't want to follow, that I knew I didn't want to do, that probably slowed me down a little bit, but I think it's going to pay off as we move forward. So what worked in the past is just throwing something against the wall and saying it in a way that that was like buzzy, right? Like, if you created a buzz around it, or it was the newest latest thing, people would want it. If you talk to a pain in a particular way, then you would attract another group of people. I mean, I'm not even talking about the marketing marketers, because then there is this whole world of marketing marketers who aren't really coaches, healers. They're marketing marketers, right? And their whole entire business structure is around numbers and how many more people can I attract so they pay, not necessarily from a service perspective. I think for a lot of service-oriented healers, there has been that disconnect because they didn't want to be marketing marketers. Marketing is very important. We must market in order to have a business. How else will people know that we exist, right? Duh. But
Totally.
I think you and me, and I'm totally speaking for you right now, we knew that there was something deeper. Like, we knew that it wasn't just a numbers game. Yes, it's important. It's important to be in front of a lot of people. It's important to have something that people want. But where we going forward, the connection piece, like truly having your heart come through your work, connecting with people, whether it's in person or online. I think it's possible both ways. These days, I mean, through Zoom, you can create so much. But I think this, like, really deeply allowing yourself for your heart to come through in your business, speaking to a very specific person. So this is like a marketing 101. I think a lot of people still avoid it. And for a long time, we got away with not having to do that. But going forward, I think it will be more and more important, is not just, it's the connection, but it's connection to a very specific person that they can then feel that this work is for them. That whatever it is that you are coming to create with them is going to be something that they can immerse themselves into, not from a place of a promise, because I don't believe that. I don't think we can promise in a coaching and healing industry, because it's too dynamic and depends on both parties, but really focusing on what is it that can be created, who am I speaking to, and then allowing my authenticity to come through. And for that, it's going to take a lot of courage for the healers, because most of the healers come from a place of, I can help everybody with anything, right?
Totally.
And that was even one of the things that I felt that, so talk about things that didn't work. I switched my niche over and over and over again, because I felt like I could help anybody with anything. And as soon as I got over the excitement of the niche that I connected with, and as soon as I got over the excitement of the copy that I wrote and the pages that I fixed on my website, I was over it, because I'm a very creative being. I was over it. I was on to the next niche, right? I heard I love this question. Whenever somebody posts something on social media that they've made a certain amount of money or they had a great launch, immediately, and this is without a fail, still works, at least one person will say, what niche are you in? Why? Because they want to know what niche is working right now. And for many years, people did that. They followed the niche that worked, believing that if they get into that niche, the things will work out for them as well. But that's not authentic. It might have worked for the marketing marketers, but it's not going to work for the authentic healers, such as your audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
For
Yes.
us, the
So
work,
good.
yeah, for us, the work really must be authentic. It must be something that I am passionate about, that I know I can deliver in a certain way that's going to make a difference. That is something that I can stay excited about, even when I'm not excited about it, because it's authentically me. And even when there are shifts and I reinvent pieces of my business, the core of it is still me expressed through it, right? And from that place, there is connection. Right?
Mm-hmm.
From that place, I absolutely am connected. I'm not just writing copy for the copywriting sake and putting words in a certain order. I may, because I know it works for people to hear things a certain way, but underneath it, there'll be authentic connection, authentic desire to be with the people in the conversation.
Yes, I love this so much. And I resonate with what you were saying with like
Mhm.
following the excitement. And,
Yeah.
we had another speaker who recently said she built her entire business based on what her audience needed. And her whole philosophy is like, don't follow your passion or excitement, follow what the market needs. And I'm very similar to you that I'm very creative. I'm very much like follow my passion. And in my very first business, which was online fitness coaching, I also shifted my niche a million times. I worked with brides and then women and then everyone.
Yeah.
And there was, so much learning that came with that. What
Mhm.
advice would you have to anyone listening right now that is in that stage? Maybe they're in a dry spell of their business where they're feeling not as lit up, not as connected, not as excited, and that's causing them to stay still rather than make momentum helping other people moving forward.
Yeah, well, first of all, move forward. So take some kind of a step forward. Whenever I feel like that, and actually this just happened, I'll be so authentic right now. A couple of weeks ago, I felt that stillness, the end of the year, the new year, when we're recording this, we kind of at beginning of the year, but really the year hasn't started. It started based on a calendar that we use, but not really energetically. So it was this space of stillness. And there was this almost like, is this still the direction I want to keep moving forward? And immediately I said, okay, I got to do something. So I created a workshop and immediately had a page made, and it's going to be a free workshop. And it stirred me enough to keep moving forward. It works for me every single time. So don't stand still. Reach out for support, do something, offer something. Whenever I focus out and begin to ask, well, what can I do right now to offer to my audience? What can I do right now to offer to my tribe? If you have a tribe, and I do, that becomes a little easier. But let's say you don't. Let's say you really are just starting, or maybe you haven't built a tribe. You may not have immediate audience you are speaking to. There is social media. There is like a built-in audience. So they may not have the same conversion as your email, but people will see it. People will move on it, and then it will move you forward. So that's one. Two, there is some truth to cater to what people need, right? So I think this is a beautiful balance. And I think you and I have learned this balance to a degree. I think there is, for me at least, there is always the next level. But I think there is definitely truth to serve to what people are asking for, what they need, but always in alignment with what is coming through me. Whenever I created a workshop, an experience, an offering for something that was opening up for me, that I was just a step ahead with, immediately it filled up. People were drawn to it because my energy was present there in this moment, right? Now, that may not always be scalable, meaning if you want to offer the program over and have people come in, you may get to play with what are people asking within this space that I can make it better so it speaks to them over and over and over again. But I have a balance of both because my creativity needs to thrive. So I have the pieces of my business that are the pillars that I never change. These are the evergreens offers that people can come in and work with me. And then there are the things that I do, like workshops and short-term experiences, retreats that allow me to still be in my passion, in the fluid expression, and then somewhere the two meet, and it's beautiful.
I love this so much. And I love the way that you talk about this. And it's so true that whenever we're feeling kind of stuck or at a standstill, as soon as we focus out and we start speaking, helping, creating workshops, creating offerings, there is a little bit of that fire that's lit. It's like bouncing off people that are, craving and wanting more of what's already naturally within us that reminds us, oh, wow, this is actually really valuable information that people can really, learn from. So I love this so much. What would you recommend for people that don't feel connected to their purpose right now? Maybe they're just starting out. How would you recommend that they birth their own unique soul work into the world?
Well, I do have a free gift that I that will support with that. Do you want me to talk about it or to give you a tip?
Yeah, might as well. Might as well.
So my free gift is the 5 steps to awakening your soul purpose, which is sacred success, which is in alignment, your birth, your soul. I totally screwed up the title. You have it somewhere all over the place. It's 5 steps that I went through to connect with my purpose and connect with who am I here to serve, and which I call divine appointments. And once I connected, this was a huge step. I'm going to take a minute to talk about it. It never worked for me to connect with my ideal client. It never worked for me to write out where they are, who they are, how old they are, what they do at lunch. It never worked for me. It was very plastic. It was very inauthentic. So I created a system to connect with my divine appointments, which is what I teach now. When I connected with my divine appointments, by nature of what it was, I connected with people that them and I have a divinely scheduled appointment to work together. It began to pull through me a commitment to a new level. I felt like I wasn't growing business to have the money. I wasn't just expressing myself through my business. I was now fulfilling on a commitment that I had to people, many of whom I have yet to meet because they are my divine appointments along the journey. So it's a 5-step of connecting to my purpose, who I'm here to serve, my medicine, and relationship with money. Because that's a huge part. We get to be rewarded for the work that we do. Doing it just for the sake of doing may work for a few people who have stash of money, and good for them. I am a huge stand that even if you have a stash of money, you get to be rewarded for the work, for the energy. The only way that we can expand the energy that flows through us and bring some kind of equilibrium to planet Earth is if, as far as money is concerned and resources are concerned, is if the light workers begin to accept that their work, the light coming through them, the life force coming through them is not only valuable and worthy, but they require to be paid for it. They command that they get paid for it. I don't mean demand, command energetically in the quantum field, they command to be rewarded for it. So it's the journey that I laid out. And I say this thing, your purpose is yours, but it's not for you. And I got to it myself by connecting with this purpose is coming through me for a reason, to serve in some way. I don't think that people always have to create a business that is an immediate reflection of their purpose, but they always get to be on purpose and in alignment with who they are, in connection with the force that's flowing through them, and then authentically allow themselves to receive in exchange. And then even if you feel like you're not on purpose, you will find a way to connect with it, because it's just going to magnetize you. And like, it's going to be like this force that puts you in place where you can reconnect with it over and over again. I'm not on purpose is a story that we tell ourselves to stay safe in the old paradigm that no longer serves us.
So good. So much wisdom channeling through you. I love this so much. You've mentioned a little bit about like money and right, like we all deserve to be paid really well. And one thing that I've noticed in clients that I've worked with, especially those that are starting a new business, they go from really valuing freedom. They want time freedom. They want freedom with their family, all of that. So then they start to, gain clients, all of this and that, do the work. And then they start making money. And then money becomes the focus. They're like, wow, it feels so good to make money. And then there's this money hunger that is activated within them. And that might take them away from their soul purpose. That might take them away from the connection that they're here to have with people. So what would you say to speak into that? Like, how can we create balance to want and know that we are deserving of money and know that we can continue to grow that while also being so connected to people, integrity, doing what's right, and connected to our purpose?
Yeah. there is a disconnection that we get to have from the old paradigm, which quantified money. So money was exchanged for time. That was one of the ways we learned about money. Money was exchanged for a something. So there was this quantity for quantity. And I think it's coming through so beautifully right now. So hopefully I can land it this way. We get to really begin to see money as energy in a whole new way. We already know money is energy. If anybody's in your space right now, Adrienne, they know money is energy. They've heard it before. I know it. They wouldn't make it into your space if they never heard it before.
True.
But we get to connect to it in a whole new way. Because most of the time, people, when they begin this journey, and this was true for me, I had it that I get money as energy. That means it's all around me. That means I got to just tune in and allow it in. But in what you are talking about, the jump in that place gets to be unhooking from this exchange of something for something, and it has to look like something. And really connect to the multiplication, Like money, life force always wants to multiply. Life force, the only thing that it wants to do is to express itself and multiply, expand through everything it grows. Which is why, this is so silly, but it's an example that's coming through. Some people are afraid of having a lot of money because they're afraid they'll be bad people with money. Like they'll be bad, right? Like money never makes us bad. Money expands who we already are. It's a multiplier because it's a life force that we are now manifesting in a certain way that has power in the world because we gave it. So if we begin to see money truly, and I'm looking up because I'm connecting to how it's flowing through me right now because it's so beautiful, and hooking from this some kind of a conversation, and everybody will have it different. For some it will be money for time, time for money. For some it will be like I gotta work certain amount of time, whether I have a job or a business. I have to give certain amount for people to want it. So it's this old conversation, but you've heard it before, right? Exchanging time for money or over giving to make it feel worthy. This is when we get into this place you are speaking about right now, it's a whole new way into the energetics and ability to receive truly energetic exchange. The more I allow myself to flow through me, and it's not in how good it is, how much value it creates. You can write one piece of content that has so much value, people will be willing to pay for it for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
You could have one channeling message that people are willing to pay thousands for if you allow yourself to receive in a moment when it's coming through you without guilt and shame, the value that what's about to come through you is going to create out into the world, and see it that way. See it actually going out and cherishing what's coming through you and understanding the value of it, and see it going out into the world and spilling and rippling without you having to do any more than that. And once we connect, and it's going to be a different journey for everybody, but it's definitely this very beautiful disconnection and connecting to this new wave. And light workers get to connect to it because going forward, it will not, the millionaires of the future, if we may, and it's important that we are, because money is power in the world that we are creating. It still is. It's not going away. The light workers who get it will be able to multiply it in a very different way. That's going to serve the frequency of the new earth. It's going to serve contribution, collaboration, and generosity versus the way it's been in the past. So we must allow ourselves to be the channels for it so we can be the creators of it. Nobody else will. The old regime, the old paradigm, the old representatives of it will not shift it. It doesn't serve them. It gets to happen through us.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I bet you there's some people here who are really excited by that, and other people that are scared by like, oh, that's a lot of responsibility. How do I know I'll be, in the right place to make those decisions, out of generosity? Mm-hmm. And some of those things that you described, to me, it sounds like leadership, right? It sounds like the old paradigm is like the old way of leadership was not working, and that there's this new way of leadership that is working. And a lot of what I'm witnessing you connect and how I connect as well is through accessing wisdom that's already available. It's
Yeah.
flowing through us at all times. Most of the time, this is for me accessed in my breathwork journeys. But what is it that you feel will be vital for leaders and to lead ourselves in 2024?
Leadership, it's going to be vital. Leadership will be vital. So I'm glad you brought it into the conversation, because absolutely leadership will be vital. And it is the new kind of leadership, and being very, very nimble, flexible. Where are we going as humanity? All the predictions are saying more and more we are entering even more of an eruptive environment, more of a interruption to the way of life that it's been, because it hasn't been working, right? We want it to change, but in order for it to change, it has to go through some kind of an upheaval, right? Like you can't have a clean room without throwing everything into the middle and seeing what works, what doesn't. Usually people are afraid of making changes because of that time of this discomfort, like throwing everything in the middle of the room to see what works, what doesn't, right? That's what we're doing right now. So the light workers, the leaders of light, the ones who are willing to stand and say breath work is what's going to center you in the future, which I love breath work because it literally, I mean it, have the tools to keep you centered so you can flex with what's happening and not be taken over by the environment. So let's say you are a business owner and the economy is doing things. What can I connect to in my center right now, whether it's breath work, whether it's meditation, whether it's journaling? And there are so many beautiful tools. Breath work wins, not just because I'm on your summit, but it's so powerful. It brings us back to the center. It reminds us that we are alive. I mean, there's so much power in it. So having the tools to be able to stand for what you believe, not being taken over by what is going away and trying to pull us into that old reality, especially as business owners, not giving into people are losing jobs. Who's going to pay? Believe me, there are people yearning to give up their Mercedes for a solid guide that will help them move through the next stage for humanity. That's what I see happening. People will value guides more than their last version of a Mercedes or, their Manolo Blahniks. They'll be like, take all my Manolos. I'm going to get the best guide I can get because I know that my shoes won't help me walk through the rocky road we are on right now. There's something I'm missing. I see you have it. But also I grew up and lived, or whatever it looked like, in a very luxurious environment. You can't charge me $97 for this. I'm not going to value it. This is a little tip for everybody. A lot of people are really willing to pay, but they also they want to have a certain experience, and part of the experience is the investment. So don't be afraid to charge for it. So leadership, connection to the tools, and truly valuing what do you see, what are you moving, so vision, what do you see, what are you moving into, where are you going, so people can come along with you. That's the new leadership, not follow you, but come along with you.
I love your language of coming along. And that's really what I feel is needed in the coaching space is coaches that are humble, that are, willing to not be the expert. It's like unattaching from, I'm the expert. I have all the wisdom. You need to pay me for my wisdom. But instead, it's the guidance of, I'm going to walk with you and we're going to see the world together. And I'm going to point out certain things and awaken the wisdom within you. And that's really what I see for breathwork facilitators is that opportunity to empower people to become their own guru. Because anytime, like you were saying in the past, we used to throw our money at coaches saying, they're going to fix me. They're going to have the secrets. They're going to know something about marketing that I don't know. And once I pay them, I'm going to have a certain, success level. And that's definitely not the case. And I feel like a lot of things are shifting. The way that we're selling is shifting. The promises that we're making are shifting. In fact, we're moving away from making promises and we're moving into a space of knowing that the right people will trust that they'll get exactly what they need. And we don't actually need to be as specific, promising a million things that, are setting someone up to value the relationship in a different way than what it's meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. All of that.
All of that. So you shared about your free gift. That'll be linked right below this video. That'll be in the emails as well. Definitely check that out. It's going to be amazing. And I'd love to hear, what last wisdom do you want to leave us with?
Truly value the gift that's coming through you. No, it doesn't have to, the unique doesn't mean that you are inventing a whole new wheel, but value the essence of what's coming through you, and then bring it out into the world like it's the most valuable thing you have ever delivered. Not because it is, not because you're done after this delivery, but because the more that you can stand for what it is that you are bringing out into the world, the more people can see the value for themselves and be enrolled in what's possible for them. So truly standing for the value of what's coming through you uniquely. Breath work, coaching, healing, any modality, truly stand for it, believe in it so people can believe it, because that's what people want to believe in it. They just want to know that it's okay.
Yes, I love that so
Mhm.
much. Powerful, powerful. Thank you so much for being here. This has been such an
Thank you.
enlightening, expansive conversation. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.